There is one simple thing that can change everything: your communication, your career, your relationships. It is not intelligence, not eloquence, and not charisma. It is the ability to make a person feel important. Think about it. What drives people most of all? What do we look for in words and actions, in the looks of others? We seek recognition. We want to know that we are seen, respected, appreciated. This is not a whim or weakness. This is a basic need inherent in each of us. And if you learn to satisfy it, you will receive the most powerful tool of influence in your hands. Many do not understand this. They are used to managing through criticism, through pressure, through demands. They think, if you put pressure on a person, they will start trying. But everything works exactly the opposite. People flourish not under pressure, but under the light of respect. We are not machines to be driven by commands. We are creatures that live on the fuel of recognition and approval. When you sincerely thank a person for what they do, you ignite energy in them. You start an internal engine inside them. I want to do more. I want to measure up. I want to be useful. This is real motivation. Not external, not based on fear, but from within. It is important to understand. This is not about flattery. Flattery is false. It is deception. It is manipulation. People feel it instantly, and they start to defend themselves. But sincere recognition is honesty. It is attention to detail. It is the ability to see the good and say it out loud, without benefit, simply because you respect. There were times when I myself did not understand this. I passed by good work silently. I thought that it goes without saying. But one day I tried it. I simply told the person that he did a very decent job. And you know what? There was light in the eyes, directness in the back, and in response more energy, more desire to do well. Since then, I began to apply this everywhere. And every time I see how it works. You do not just lift a mood. You lift a person up. You bring out the best in them. And they want to give it to you again and again. There are people you want to be around. They don't have any special words. No tricks. But when you're around them, you feel you're important. You're not. One more. You're a human being. And you're needed. That's who you should be. That's what you should strive for. This is not a talent. This is a skill. This is a choice. To see the best in people. And to talk about it. Not to pass by. Not to be silent. But to voice the good when you see it. And to do this not once a year, but every day. Because for someone, your words can become a fulcrum. The most interesting thing is that it works not only for others. It works for you too. The more often you acknowledge, the more positive you are. You start to see the good more often. You become more observant. You become kinder to others and to yourself. And this, you must admit, is already the beginning of a completely different life. Do you want to influence? Do you want to build relationships that last for years? Do you want to be someone who is respected and sought after? Start small. Notice the good. And say it out loud. Sincerely. Specifically. From the heart. This is the very key that is talked about so much, but so rarely used. I want to tell you a story. I had a friend, a tough, demanding manager. He believed that control and discipline were the most important things. And every day he told his employees that they weren't doing enough. He didn't praise them. He didn't thank them. He just demanded. The result? Constant turnover, burnout, indifference. People came, worked, and left. They worked with caution, without enthusiasm, without the desire to change anything. And he didn't understand why everything was falling apart. One day he took a risk and tried a different approach. He simply started noticing that someone had come earlier. Someone had carefully completed the documents. Someone had supported a colleague. And he started talking about it. Just a couple of sentences, without pathos, without officialdom. Simply, "I see you took this task seriously. Thank you." Or, "It's great that you responded so clearly. It helped the whole team." A week later, he didn't recognize his office. People started smiling, come up with ideas, offer solutions. And most importantly, they started working differently. Not to avoid being scolded, but with desire. Because they wanted to be part of something bigger. Because they felt that their work was not empty. This is not an exception. This is a pattern. We all change when we feel that our contribution is important. We try when we are seen. We develop when there is someone who does not just demand, but inspires. I came to the conclusion, when you praise a person, you help him become better. These are not just words. This is feedback that gives energy. This is a signal. You are on the right track. Continue. People lack this. We live in a culture where it is easier to notice a mistake than effort. But effort is what grows the result. And here specifics are important. Recognition must be precise. Not, "Well done," but, "You did a great presentation. It was obvious that you thought through every detail." Or, "Your reaction in a difficult situation was very calm, and this helped the whole team not to panic." When a person hears such feedback, he does not just smile. He feels, he is seen. He is appreciated not formally, but truly. Someone may say, "Why is this?" Let them work. This is their job. But I will say this, if you want results, include people. And to include, you need recognition. Because recognition is psychological oxygen. Without it, people work mechanically. With it, inspired. And one more thing, recognition is the prevention of burnout. It is like water for a plant. If you do not water it, it will dry up. If you water it, it will bloom. Do you want your team to grow? For relationships to become stronger? For the people around you to be resourceful? Recognize. Speak. Thank. Don't wait for a reason. The reason is the person himself, his daily contribution, his attempts, his forward movements. It's amazing how little is needed and how great the return. Just to see. Just to say. Just to be a person next to a person. The more I observe people, the more I understand. We all want to hear kind words. But at the same time, we are very sensitive to falsehood, especially when it comes to praise. And if you say something for the sake of effect, for the sake of manipulation, the person will understand it immediately. And they close up. Therefore, everything I say works only when you are sincere. This is not a technique. This is not a trick for influence. This is a look. This is a habit of seeing value. Not making things up, not playing around, but really noticing the good. I remember the moment when I understood this. We are sitting in a conference room. The discussion is going on. The tension is growing. And one guy, not the most noticeable on the team, suddenly makes a calm, precise comment that puts everything in its place. We make a decision. I look at him and say, "Excellent observation." This helped us maintain focus. And at that moment, I see how he literally straightens up. Not from pride, but from the fact that he felt his opinion is important. His contribution is valuable. And I could have kept quiet. I could have passed it by. But one simple comment, and the person feels needed. That's what distinguishes recognition from flattery. Flattery is a general, vague compliment without a basis. And recognition is when you know exactly what you're thanking for. When you notice that the person did well. And you said so, not out of politeness, but because it's really important to you. Sometimes someone will say, "Why would I praise an adult? He's not a child." But that's the point. Inside every adult there lives that very child who wants to be noticed, supported, told, "You're doing great. You're doing well. You're growing." The most interesting thing is that recognition works in difficult situations too. You can start by noticing the effort, even if the result is not yet ideal. And the person, having received support, begins to reach up. But if you had immediately given criticism, he would have simply closed up. And that's it. The dialogue is over. Sometimes one precise, sincere remark is enough, and a person changes. He begins to believe in himself. He begins to try. Because someone gave him an impulse. Someone looked not through him, but into him. I do this every day. With friends. With a team. With clients. Even with strangers. Sometimes, in a store, in a cafe, in a taxi. If I see that a person is doing something well, I talk about it. Without unnecessary pathos. Simply, "You work very carefully. Thank you." Or, "It is noticeable that you are attentive to details. That's cool." These phrases cost me nothing, but they can trigger something important in a person. Something that will make his day, or week, or change his attitude towards himself. The power of recognition is that it is not about an external effect. It is about internal contact. It is a way of saying, "You are a person. I see you. I respect you." And if you give that to others, they will start to see and respect you in return. It works in any direction, up, down, horizontally. Because it's not about positions. It's about people to people. Over the past few years, I have observed a lot how strong leaders communicate. And do you know what unites all those who you really want to follow? They know how to see the good in people and voice it in a timely and accurate manner. This does not mean that they smile at everyone all the time and give compliments. No. They just know how to say a simple but powerful phrase at the right moment. "I see that you are trying. This is important." Or, "You behaved very decently in that situation. Thank you." Such things change everything. And you see how a person's eyes light up. How he begins to behave more confidently. How energy and desire appear. Because recognition is fuel. It is oxygen. Without it, we wither. With it, we grow. Remember Lincoln. This is a man who at the beginning of his career was caustic and sharp. He criticized easily, wrote caustic letters. Once this almost led to a duel. After that, he changed. He stopped making open condemnations. I started looking for strengths in people, not mistakes. I started talking not from a position of superiority, but from a position of respect. And I became great. Why? Because I realized that true strength is not in pointing out shortcomings, but in revealing the best. And I try to do this every day. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. but I know for sure this is the path worth following. I have seen how this changes even the most difficult relationships. One guy from my team has a difficult character. At first, we often clashed. But one day I noticed that he handled a difficult case very clearly and did it almost imperceptibly, without pathos. I just came up to him and said, "You sorted it out very competently." This simplified the situation a lot. Since then, we have had a completely different contact. He began to not just complete tasks, he became proactive. Because he felt he is seen. He is appreciated. And here is the important point. People very rarely hear a kind word. Everyone is busy. Everyone is in a hurry. Everyone is focused on themselves. So when you show attention, you immediately stand out. You become an anchor. Someone who is pleasant to deal with. Someone with whom you want to continue. This works in family, and with friends, and in business. Recognition is a universal language. Everyone understands it. You want to speak it. You want to return to it. But the main thing here is not to cross the line and not to start handing out praise formally. As soon as you start doing this for the sake of the result, for the sake of manipulation, everything collapses. People feel. Sincerity is important here. Attention. Specifics. You don't have to invent compliments. Just be observant. Saw say. Felt voice. And do it as if it were a part of you. As if it were your lifestyle. Because if you choose this path, it will give you much more than you expect. As a result, recognition becomes not a technique, but a reflection of your position. You tell people, you are important. And it is precisely these words that become the threads that truly connect us to each other. Everything I'm talking about boils down to one simple idea. People need to feel that they matter. Not just sometimes. Not on holidays. But every day. And you and I have the power to give this feeling. With our words. With our attention. With our attitude. This doesn't mean that you have to go around and tell everyone something all the time. It's about awareness. About inner tuning. About the habit of looking at people not as performers or background, but as real, living people in whom there is something to appreciate. And it doesn't matter who is in front of you, a CEO or a cashier, a taxi driver or a colleague. Everyone has something for which you can sincerely thank. Everyone has something that you can notice and talk about it. And when you do this, you lift the person up, and along with him yourself. I once told the driver, "Thank you for driving so carefully. It feels like it." And that's it. He threw up his hands, as if he didn't believe it. And then he said, "You're the first one to even notice." You see, he works every day. He drives people. He tries. And he's never heard that it's valuable. Here's the truth. The world is full of people who do important things, and they don't get a word of recognition for it. We just keep quiet. We think it's their job. But it's not about the job. It's about the person. About respect. About attention. If you start talking, you won't just change them. You'll change yourself. You'll become more open, deeper, warmer. You'll start seeing the good. And that means you'll start attracting people like you. Try it. Tomorrow. Today. Now. Find someone nearby and say, "You really helped me today. I can see it." Or, "You did a great job, and I appreciate it." Or simply, "Thank you. You made it easier." It's a small thing. But it's one of those small things that make up life, that builds the atmosphere in a team. Trust in relationships, warmth in the home, loyalty in business. This is the foundation of real influence. We often think that influence is power, arguments, charisma. But in reality, influence is born from recognition, from the simple ability to see value in a person and tell them about it. This is more powerful than any motivational speech. It is deeper than any awards, because recognition touches not the head, but the heart. Here's a challenge for you. Today, before the day is over, say something kind and specific to at least 3 people. Not just, "Well done," but something truly important. And see what happens. You will see how the atmosphere changes, how people begin to reach out, how respect grows, how you yourself feel stronger, because you give what everyone needs, a sense of significance. And if you make that your style, you won't just have influence. You'll have a team, a partnership, real, living connections. And that's the most valuable thing you can build.